Hey guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy. He doesn't say how old he is, but I'm guessing not too old, probably at best early 30s. And he shares his story how, unfortunately, his last girlfriend gave him an STD. You're going to see that he was with her, and obviously, there was a lot of roller coaster and drama, and one thing led to another, and he eventually had some problems down south. As did she. As it turns out, she gave him the STD. But here's the crazy thing. She knew about it in advance. She had been diagnosed with that particular thing well before she met him and didn't care, didn't tell him. And now his whole life has been impacted because of this whole thing. And he's writing in to share his story both as a warning to guys what can happen out there, and you got to be very careful and all that, as well as looking for help and guidance because it's really transformed his life. He got herpes, which you are aware that there's no cure for, and very painful. He worked as a driver for, he didn't say what service, but it was either UPS or FedEx, which obviously, because it's his physical job, this caused a problem for him and all that. So he's really going through a tough time, and he's, again, writing this as a warning to guys what can happen, and how, of course, you'll see as I get into this, and looking for help because he's really struggling here. That'd be a very good one to go over here because, again, this is a men's channel. This is a subject for men, and we really want to help each other out. Now, it's a longer story, guys, as you can see, but it's definitely worth it, and I urge you in the end to comment away. This guy could use some help here, help getting back on track, because here's the thing, guys. Even the toughest of all of us go through tough times and can even reach a breaking point, And so he's taking it like a man, as best he can, but still, he could use some help. So it starts off, says here, hello SSM. I go by Arthur. I want to give you a story that I hope you can tell others as a strong reason why your content is so important. I believe my story is a cautionary tale of misguidance and astonishing bad luck. I have a S-word transmitted disease, herpes 2, and it has aggressively consumed a majority of my body. As men, logic and reason will be our only friend in life because you have to be accountable for all your failures, even if you can truthfully rationalize the situation as not your own fault. But it will not matter to a vast majority of others. I liken my story to a driver on his way home from work who is struck and paralyzed by a drunken driver. But I understand that the nature of my situation will not be comparable to that by others. I'm trapped in this situation because I entered the situation that is at its core this. I will begin the story. He says, in 2020, I worked for a well-known package delivery company, and during my delivery, I met a beautiful woman. She was in shape, had nice hair, and walked with feminine charm. I used to not be the smoothest man in history since childhood. I used to not be the smoothest man historically since childhood, as I did not have the best luck with women. But I matured and learned, so I decided to be brave and give a cold approach a shot. For a little backstory, I had recently gone through a breakup with a beautiful yet introverted woman. But the situation unraveled me because, for lack of better words, I was a blue-pilled guy in the relationship. To highlight my thought process, let me explain that I was my ex's first experience in dating, and I thought her purity would make her love me more. And love me for me. Purity, huh? But soon it felt like I wasn't enough for her, even though she was at my residence. I was in my frame and under my guidance. I believe my ex discovered her true inherent value from some of her new girlfriends, and soon believed she could do better regardless of me stepping in each way. She suggested to me more like exercising, less video games, and more money. Even though my job had good benefits, and 85% of it went to the bills. So notice he said he met her, obviously she was a virgin and all that, young, and then started hanging out with other women and making her realize her true value. Translation, she was in her prime, and she is looking to monkey branch. Mind you, this was during the pandemic lockdown where everyone was getting $600 a week, but as an essential worker, I wasn't and still lived almost paycheck to paycheck. A regrettable scam. I thought I was a real hard-working man, but truth was I was a fool. My ex got a new job that helped her apply by fixing her computer and resume. I found a lot of opportunities to make more money, one way by working out of state. Our relationship had been rocky because I was not the perfect boyfriend, but it wasn't my first rodeo. I thought stepping up to the challenge but actually improving would win her back, but it didn't. Well, you as well as all guys, you need to improve yourselves not so you can impress some girl, You need to do it for you. So you can have a better life, guys. That's the problem. So many guys do these things because they want to get chicks. Do it for you. You have a better life. And believe me, the better your life is on multiple fronts in terms of go to the gym because you want to be healthy and fit and look and feel good, not to impress a bunch of bimbos, but because it makes you feel good. Trust me, you guys that work out, it's a great feeling. Work hard to move up in your company or start a business or make more money so that you can have a better quality of life, because at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody fucking says, the more money you have, and if you're good with it, the easier your life's going to be. You have a lot more options and flexibility and freedom. Do it for you, not for some fucking chicks. Because otherwise you're going to be, no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to impress everybody. She admitted that it built a little resentment in her. Mistakes were made in the relationship, but she was much less forgiving than I was for her own mistakes. Our relationship was unsalvageable as soon as she met a new and taller athlete. I've been approached by women many times, but I stayed faithful as I understood many women like taken men. But I thought infidelity was beneath me, and I knew the pain of being cheated on. Well, good for you. A lot of stories are like this, where one meets a guy, better option, she monkey branches to the next dude, but this same guy who's been loyal to her has had many opportunities, but he didn't do it because he has a code. He's not going to cheat on her, and look what happens. My blue pill self would ask, why didn't she choose to stay with me when I always chose to stay with her? But that's the past. Brother, many a men have asked that same question, and will continue asking that question long after I'm gone. Now to the main story. I gave this new beautiful girl we'll call Sarah a ride in my delivery van to her destination, the supermarket down the street while I was on the clock. My conversation skills have been sharpened since the breakup, and I've been dating around and learning more about women thanks to the late Kevin Samuels, R.I.P., The Godfather. At this point, I was purple pilled. Sarah liked our interaction, and we exchanged information. Fast forward, me and Sarah were talking more and more and hanging out. She recently moved to my state from Florida and was living with her gay male roommate, who was her childhood friend. He was ex-military, so he was tough, but he was definitely gay. She worked in a restaurant, but leveraged her beauty as an Instagram model to earn more income with professional photography. Well, there you go. That is an immediate red flag and head for the hills. You don't want a Instagram model or social media pert girl as your girlfriend. Why? Because they're always glued to their goddamn phones, and they're attention whores, and they're being bombarded with attention from guys all the time, and you just don't need that shit. You'll learn. She didn't have many friends because of her new living situation, and she took care of her diet as it was vastly cleaner than my own, regardless of my workout regimen. To me, she understood security, finance, health, and beauty, which are things I believe would make an ideal girlfriend. At the time, she was seeing someone else casually, but so was I. I learned in my purple pill phase that women do not respect undesirable men, so I had to continue working on my dating skills in order to find the right one, so I was involved with other women. But I was a gentleman. I took them on dates, showed them respect, and even when the women were flat out gave themselves to me. Yeah, you were a gentleman, but this woman, as you guys are going to see, is clearly no lady. At this point in my life, I thought I finally figured out women. You thinking that now? I was entering my late 20s, and I felt like I was finally attracted to the opposite sex. I had confidence and resources. I thought God was finally on my side. I think the Lord has much bigger problems to deal with in this fucked up world than making sure you're good with women. He's got bigger problems in this world than your success with the ladies. My friend group at the time was quite an impressive network of 20 dudes, and I was a true member. People who met me wanted to be in it, and people who used to know me saw it as I was moving up in life. Sarah even understood that I was a man of reasonable value. I was loved and respected. Soon, Sarah and I decided to really focus on each other by becoming more exclusive. I thought we understood each other's backgrounds. Even though I was sensible, I was still a naive fool, and irony would still mark me as unlucky. We casually hung out numerous times and went on 2 official dates in a span over 2 weeks before we had our SEX. The night we had our first SEX, I approached her without a condom, and it scared her, understandably. Smack! Dude, what the fuck? Not wear a condom? Are you out of your freaking mind? I know you know this now, but I tell guys all the time, always wear protection. Always provide your own protection. And always dispose your own protection. You don't want to A, catch something, or B, get her pregnant, or give her an excuse to say she got pregnant and blame it on you, and cause a whole shitstorm in your life. Yeah, I get it feels better, sure, but you pay a price. She urged me to wear a condom as her reasoning was that she wanted to protect her body, which is understandable. I felt like I was a fool for even daring to not wear one initially, so I respectfully wore a condom and we did it. This is where the irony comes to play. Later on, Sarah and I were hanging out and she says we need to talk as she was experiencing discomfort in her groin. I remember feeling some discomfort myself, but thought it was just a sore from the amount of work I put in. I thought nothing of it because I wore a condom. We continued to grow the relationship by holding off on the SCX. I soon discovered a sore on the base of my shaft, but believed to be chafing from the condom and think nothing of it. Later on, I noticed more sores appearing as I showered. It is ironic that you didn't want to wear the condom, but eventually you did, but then you caught something from her. You know, I go to get tested, and the doctor tells me that I have, wait for it guys, herpes. I was crushed and confused. Herpes is a skin-to-skin infection, and a condom cannot protect you from it because other parts of your body is still exposed to rubbing infected areas. I confronted her, and she's just as surprised. What an asshole. She, as you're going to learn, guys, she not only had it, but knew she had it, and didn't tell him. She's so surprised. Fucking criminal. My test results were negative, but the doctor cautioned me that initial infections need time for the immune system to build antibodies, which is what the test detects. It was a new infection. I had a vacation trip planned with my friend group, so Sarah and I had to address it further afterwards. My trip was low-key and ruined as I was a young, hot, eligible bachelor, unable to indulge myself in so many dreamlike opportunities because I was afraid of spreading it or being embarrassed by the discovery. I returned home, and me and her continued the discussion of her getting tested. I returned to work, but the level of discomfort for my type of job is physically unbearable, and the psychological damage is worsening. A delivery driver who's blessed with a great deal of autonomy is getting a lot of time to think about life, and mine was over. Me and Sarah continued to see each other to work through the issue, but it is during this time that the facade is starting to break down. She began speaking in an unflattering manner. She addressed her mother on the phone as girl, and she began to often use the word worser, which absolutely irked me because it's an incorrect word that signals a low-level intelligence or education. Dude, your description of her tells me she's a bonehead. Soon she gave me more of her backstory. The part of Florida she came from was really the ghetto, and her last relationship that she claimed was abusive involved infidelity on both sides, which she believes is the origin of the infection. Oh, how interesting. A timeline. I came to the conclusion that I had given my body to a trashy bitch because I could not see past the facade. Yeah, you were hypnotized by her beauty and her body. Ooh, I got myself an Instagram model. Everything was too good to be true from the beginning. She soon sent me her test results, but she didn't realize the results she sent me were from 2019. The current year is 2020. This meant she knew. It's fucking criminal, man. I began battling increasingly severe mental illness alongside my physical illness with this revelation. She lied about how she got the results, but I told her I believed her to stay close and gather more evidence. I called a law office, but I was told that because she did not make much money, it would be pointless to pursue a case. Well, okay, according to that attorney, she doesn't make a lot of money, so you're not going to be able to go after her, therefore he's not going to get paid for a civil case. But what about criminal? That I have to wonder about. If she knew she had it and didn't tell you, that's criminal in my mind. I'm curious about that. And clearly her modeling days are over. She obviously has herpes. On her end, she began to have issues with her living situation as her roommate failed to pay rent again, and they were losing the apartment. I had to make a decision. Was I going to end up on the news for a crazy act, or was I going to take my L like a gentleman and hate myself for being one? I chose to be a gentleman and exude calmness, even though there was chaos and feeling of emptiness inside me. I was sure that I would take my own life very soon at the time. Dude, do not take your own life. It's not worth it. You're going through hell, and you have this thing for a life until they come up with a cure, but you can persevere and find meaning and all that. Yeah, it's impacting your job and many other things, and obviously being close to people. It's not over. I'll come back to that at the end. Her mother came from Florida to help her move back. Looking at her mom, I could see the embodiment of a woman who has struggled in so many ways in life, and it made me feel so foolish that I had been slumming. The mother gave me kind words which I accepted, even though the only thing I believed her daughter deserved was more than life civilly imaginable. Sarah returned to Florida. Well, I hope she's not from where I'm from, or moving to, and I seriously doubt that. And I'm left alone. I soon discovered she was seeing her ex again, which infuriated me. Is this the same ex that she claimed was abusive to her? They always come back, and they always go back to the lowlifes. Obviously, he has it too. Things only got worse from there, as I discovered that I accidentally spread the infection to other parts of my body by my towels and bathing long before actually knowing I was infected. The mysterious itching in certain places had full-on outbreaks. It was down my stomach, under my arms, and in my scalp. And I had mental breakdowns. I used to use the Reddit community for help. r/herpes is full of insane, self-centered, delusional weirdos who believe in no accountability while bolstering feminist talking points to trick non-infected people, mostly men looking for advice, into engaging with infected people. Reddit I use for the They Did What channel and the SSM clips overwhelmingly, and there's crazy stories on there, and a lot of guys writing for help. And there are some helpful people, but overwhelmingly, Reddit is full of a bunch of fucking wackos, and it's definitely lots of far left people on there. Guys are fucking mental. Not saying no crazy people on the right, but overwhelmingly they are definitely on the far left and see eye to eye with the feminists and all that. I realized the world was sick, and as a man, I was my only hope. Yet I failed myself. It was in that moment I became fully red-pilled. I realized everything that I had learned about women and life from an early age is why I faced so much rejection and why I had been played with so easily. I realized my father, my supposed role model, knew no better, as my mother was already a single mom with apparently daddy issues when they first met. I was a spawn of a beta male in respect to sexual dynamics. This hurt me extensively. I loved my father and believed him to be an alpha provider as he worked hard to secure his family, despite any challenges, but certain dynamics in my parents' marriage now make more sense to me, and it broke my heart. Lots of guys I have known and do know, they're guys, right? Have a beer, they're hard workers, they don't take any shit outside of their marriage, but when it comes to women, they're as weak as they fucking get. I'm sure many of you guys have known guys like this, family, friends. Maybe some of you guys are like this now, or maybe you were in your past. It's amazing to me. Because of severe depression and growing infection, I lost my job because I couldn't properly function. I'm sorry, man. I lost steady income. I lost my workout routine. I lost my sense of purpose. When a man loses his sense of purpose, guys, that is it. It's like when people retire, men retire, right? Late 60s, early 70s nowadays. And you hear stories that they die not too long after because the purpose is gone. Yeah, they don't have to go to that grind anymore and get up and work for some asshole, and you know what I mean? But still, they just kind of sit around and watch TV all the time. And they just wither away real quick. A man without purpose just really isn't much of a man. You know, and I'm not saying to be insulting, but this is why I always have to have something that we strive for and work towards and all that. That's just how our genetic makeup, how men operate. And I can see how this guy's been going down the drain here. After telling my father what happened, I was advised to return home, which I did. My siblings welcomed me back in open arms, but my paranoia isolated me. The idea of accidentally infecting someone sometimes spiraled into a silent emotional frenzy. The infection only continued to worsen. My aging father had too much work responsibilities, so I must handle the yard work, but in the heat, movement, and the sweat has allowed my infection to progress to new areas of my body. I know you would love to be served some well-deserved retribution for what she did to you and knew darn well that she had it, but I guarantee you life will pay her back. But it's never satisfying as watching. But I'm sorry, man. This sucks. That's terrible. I do not know how to not be a burden as a grown unemployed man without increasing the risk of contagion. 90% of my days are spent inside my bedroom. I lived like this since moving back. But in 2023, I thought to try and take control of my life regardless of the situation. Yes, that's what men do. plenty of people are dealt a shit hand in life, and you can either wallow in misery, or you can go through the misery stage and being depressed and a lot of the different stages of grief, and then, okay, this is my situation, it sucks, what can I do to find new purpose and meaning? And I'm assuming you're on various antibiotics or anything that can be prescribed. I don't know a whole lot about herpes, I'll be honest with you guys, but it's like nobody knows about this shit until they get it, right? But I'm sure you're doing what you can do medically, but you got to find a new purpose, a new reason to get up every day. You can't do physical labor because obviously the physical problems, but your mind works. There's things you can do there. I thought to try and take control of my life regardless of my situation. It is possible that this is fueled by pure delusion. After discovering more RP content, I stopped smoking weed and was never much into alcohol, so I've been living in sobriety for a little while in an effort to regain more of my sanity and intelligence. Good for you, man. You don't need that shit. I returned to school online to earn my master's degree in biotechnology at a well-known school of medicine because I was a good student in college. There you go, bro. Good. You're taking action. You're making something happen for yourself. I believe my way of thinking could help discover a cure, possible delusion, but whatever. Dude, make that your purpose. You're going to find a cure for herp. Look at Michael J. Fox. After he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, he's made his whole life, after he ended an acting career, but Parkinson's. And people now, they think Parkinson's and donating money, they think Michael J. Fox. That's been his purpose for like 30 years or whatever it is, And maybe one day, because of all the attention he's brought to it, one day that, a friend of mine's father-in-law just died of Parkinson, and another guy just died of Parkinson. These are old men, and it's such a shame. But you can find purpose too, and there you go. Make that your mission. You're going to go to the medical field, and you can help do your part to finding a cure to this shit. My family has always advised me to be some sort of doctor, as they recognize my thought patterns to be unique, which is possibly why a contagious disease like this has been so detrimental to my mental health. I had to remove lust and romance from my life, and it opened my eyes in a way I wish remains shut. Our society is sick. Our world is sick. The notion to manipulate the girls to indoctrinate the boys is the most diabolical tactic anyone in a position of power could exploit to change our corrupt culture, or corrupt a culture. Sexual deviance and degeneracy is rampant and completely out of control, and no one powerful enough is willing to subdue the chaos. It is the reason Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. Those societies were were unsalvageable because the people began to affirm the degenerate way of life. I could talk about corrupted religion and falsified reality, but that's not what this is about. My disease has fully consumed my body literally and from head to toe. The thought of even saying I have genital herpes all over my body makes me sick, but to try and endure regardless. If I know what I know now about the true romantic and S-word dynamics between men and women, I would not be in this mess. I used to ask, why me? Now I state, of course me. I've traced my memories all the way back to childhood and have completely acknowledged as the origins of a beta male simp who didn't understand what girls were really thinking and respond to because I consumed the fantasy garbage broadcasted in media. Yeah, it's all bullshit. And that's why I do what I do here on this channel, do my part to help dudes around the world. And I point out regularly that what they show in the TV and movies and the novels, the media, the commercials, I can go on, bullshit, right? It's unfortunate. But if you're a young guy and you don't have a father, because how many single-parent households there are in this country, which is causing a fucking mess with the kids. Look at the chaos going on, how the teenagers are behaving today. No male role model there to give them guidance and a well-needed kick in the ass when it happens. Or kids who think fearful they don't have a future. On top of, I've lost my train of thought. Point is, everything's fucked up. But you need a male role model, you need guidance, and I do my part to help out guys. Because nobody else is doing it. But you watch enough, here we go. You watch enough of these movies and shows all the time, seeing the same old story, you start thinking it's true because you got no male role model to teach you these things and teach you reality. The media does not really tell men how to be successful men. It only teaches men how they can be supportive to women while constantly finding excuses of toxic femininity. The Reddit thread for herpes is polluted by toxic feminists and misinformation. Doctors tell me it's no big deal and brushes off the massive stigma and real humiliation associated with the disease. The research on the disease is severely subpar. The law will not criminalize women who spread it. Aha, okay, that answers my question. But we'll figure out a way to indict and humiliate men like they did like they did Usher, the singer. There are videos of women openly admitting to having herpes and knowingly exposing uninformed S-word partners, but the tone of the videos are about celebration and recovery. Because the world's fucking crazy, that's why. Again, there's no justice for men, only perseverance. I got rid of my therapist after 3 sessions because the advice he gave me was insufficient. Yeah, because your therapist was probably some fucking blue pill, clueless nice guy that wanted you to, cry and all the other bullshit instead of giving you really constructive things to help you move on. I was already doing what was advised, or he himself could not calculate the futility of some of his suggestions. He even admitted that my case was unique. Most of these therapists do not know how to treat the trauma of masculine patients. Nowadays, I get more peace from my dreams than in real life. My sleep has become only my safe haven, as dreams are now so lucid. I make conscious decisions about my own thoughts, actions, and staying in them longer because my real life is very difficult. It feels like the movie Inception. Well, dude, you're severely depressed. That's what's going on here. When it gets to the point, guys, when you would rather be asleep and the only peace you have is when you pull that cover over your head and go to sleep, and you'd rather be in your dream world than reality, that means you're severely depressed and you need help. And I get why you're this way, man. I do. But you have to pull out of this. I know you're trying, but you have to pull out of this and move forward as best you can. I maintain a good level of clarity, partly thanks to my sobriety, but I still must fight off the suicidal ideas, as I liken my situation to a zombie bite where, regardless of how kind or valuable I can be, the risk is arguably too high to keep me around. Logically speaking, of course. I'm still alive because I don't want to traumatize my family and friends with my own self-harm, but I live in fear thinking that maybe I will slip up and traumatize them with my accidental infection. I wear hoodies and long pants even in the summer. I bathe with disposable gloves and disposable washcloths. I have to use towels only once before cleaning them in the laundry, which I must sanitize and disinfect after each use. Honestly speaking, my life is hell. LOL. Yeah, it sounds like it, man, and I'm sorry. I'm not sure what type of advice anybody can give me here, but maybe my story can be used as a warning for others to not allow the pursuit of love and validation destroy them. In other words, don't be fucking riding the carousel and really, at best you can, get to know who you're getting involved with. It's part of a grand illusion that ties you to mediocrity in the world. Forever a servant to reality and never the master. I was a gentleman, not a playboy, and I was damaged. Romantic love has now become the most unrealistic thing in my life to achieve. Romantic love is always unrealistic and bullshit. It's for the movies. It's for the novels. Come on. I know you know this, and I know guys watching this know this, but a lot of people don't want to hear that. Sometimes the past is not merely just the past. Consequences can cling to you forever. I see it every day and when I look in the mirror. I run out of tears to cry for the most part and have learned to live with the feeling of emptiness. I'm surprised I haven't taken my grand exit yet or succumbed to drugs or becoming a psycho. I hope my mental fortitude holds up longer and I'm able to produce something to remedy the situation, because I've come to terms with the fact that no one else will do it. It is a impossible task unless I make it possible. Again, that might be the delusion talking, but let's be real, what are my options? Thank you for your work, SSM. I wish the channel existed when I was a young man growing up. Arthur. Well, Arthur, I'm sorry all that shit happened to you, and it's terrible. And when awful things happen to people, they always say, why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? I was a good man, and I did good things to people, and blah, blah, and this is what happens to me. Again, I don't know a whole lot about herpes. I'm being perfectly honest. I know it's not curable, and I know the rashes and the incredible discomfort, and obviously it's contagious. And I now learned that the gals can be criminally charged for knowingly spreading it. That's horrible. But the only thing I know is that everybody can go through hard times and have things happen to them, and you got one of two choices. You can either wallow in misery the rest of your life or off yourself, or two, go through the process of grieving and then find a way to move on. Find purpose in this life. You mentioned going back to school and maybe going to the medical field. Okay, that could be your purpose, and making your mission to help find a fucking cure to this thing. The way Michael J. Fox has been using his name and his popularity to help with Parkinson's. It could be a long way for that one, but at least he's doing his part. That gave him purpose. He didn't give up. And I have great respect for that, and that's awesome. I mean, I always think about how popular he was in the 80s and 90s and how many movies he would have done afterwards if he didn't get that, but the guy didn't wallow in misery. He found a way, and you can do as well. And I know you don't want to hear this, but there are a lot of people in life have things way worse than you. So as horrible as this is, you can find a way. And again, find your purpose. And I think you have found that. And every day, do your part to, if you're pursuing an advanced degree in medicine, if you want to become a doctor or something in the medical field, do that and get to that point and then do your part every day and spread awareness. And you shared your story here, and your story here will help some guys out there. I truly hope guys will type in and comment ways that can help you out, words of encouragement. Any guys out there that have herpes and know somebody that had that, if you can share, you're anonymous, of course, some words of advice and comfort to this guy, please take the time to comment and help him out. And take it day by day, and you're going to be okay. And I wish you all the best, man. But do not give up. You're young. I'm guessing you're early 30s at this point. You got plenty of meaning and life to live. And I'm glad that you have family that are helping you out. And I know you said your dad is, a blue pill guy, but you know what? It sounds like your dad is a good guy and loves you and has worked hard, take care of his family, and he's doing his best. So I wish you the best, man. Just hang in there. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below and just think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.